everyone, and welcome back to Jeff and Joe's Puerto Rican Kitchen, where we show you how to make easy, authentic Puerto Rican recipes. Today we're making piononos de carne, and I need to specify de carne because even though in Puerto Rico we just call these piononos, in a lot of other Latin American countries, piononos refers to a dessert that's rolled up, and this is definitely not a dessert. It's still rolled up though. So piononos in Puerto Rico are ripe plantains that have been sliced finely, and then you roll them around some meat, some ground beef or picadillo, and then we're gonna top them with a little queso de bola, as well as a little egg wash. It's delicious. And so again, I've kind of talked about what's in the dish. First is the picadillo. We made a video that was just released showing how to make this. I wanna keep them separate, so you can check that video out if you wanna make it. As we made it, a lot of people have their own versions of picadillo, and go ahead and feel free to use that. Then we have some ripe plantains. Again, these are ripe, and even though they look kind of a little black and maybe a little nasty if you're not used to them, these are perfect on the inside, and this is exactly how you want them. Because we're gonna roll them up, they need to be very soft, so you wanna get them very ripe. So again, I actually had to go to like 3 or 4 grocery stores to find ones that were sufficiently ripe, so be on the lookout for that. You want them ripe. If they're not ripe, 1, they're not sweet, and 2, they're really hard, so they won't roll well. And then again, last, queso de bola for the top, and just some eggs to egg wash. So it's gonna be a great recipe, guys. You're gonna love it. So let's get cooking.
Piononos are fried ripe plantains wrapped around a stuffing of seasoned ground beef, which are held together by an egg wash and topped with cheese. So to make these, we'll start by preparing the plantain shells. First, peel your plantains. I've found that the easiest way to do this is cut off both ends of the plantain and then score one side of the skin by running a knife along the length of the plantain. Once the skin is scored, you should be able to easily peel back the skin with your fingers. Once your plantains are peeled, we need to slice them into thin strips, about 1/4 inch thick. To do this, first cut your plantain in half lengthwise. Then, holding your plantain flat against the cutting board, run your knife along the length of the plantain to cut it into 2 strips. Using this method, I get 4 strips from each plantain. Once your plantains are cut, let's go ahead and fry them. In my experience, the piononos turn out best if you deep fry the plantains. I found that this results in the softest plantains that can be easily shaped into the round shape of a pionono. To do this, fill a heavy pan with oil to cover your plantains, about 1/4 to 1/2 of an inch deep. Once your oil is around 300 degrees Fahrenheit, add your plantain strips and fry them until they are golden brown, flipping periodically to get an even cook. As you are flipping and moving the plantains, be gentle, as we don't want to break the plantain strips into smaller pieces. We need them whole. As you finish frying your plantain strips, move them to a plate lined with paper towel to rest. After you've finished frying all of your plantains, let them rest until they are cool to the touch. Now this is for 2 reasons. First, you don't want to burn yourself as you work with them. And second, when the plantains come out of the oil, they can be a little stiff and will crack if you try to bend them. But as they rest and cool down, they pull moisture out of the air and get softer and more pliable, which you'll want them to be for the next step. Once your plantain strips are cool, let's shape them into wheels. To do this, fold your plantain in a circle. Since a plantain is generally a curved shape, I find that putting the shorter side down results in a pleasant shape that opens upward and is easier to fill. Once your plantain is shaped, use toothpicks to hold the 2 ends together. I found that 2 toothpicks do the job best. Just don't forget to take them both out at the end. Now shape all of your plantains into wheels. Inevitably, some of your plantain strips won't make it, but don't worry, we've planned for that. We started with 16 strips of plantains, but there are really only enough filling for about 12 piononos. Once your plantains are shaped, place them on a greased baking sheet and fill them with your picadillo. In the video, I forgot to add the step of greasing the baking sheet, but this is important as it makes the piononos way easier to remove later. Once your piononos are filled, we're going to top them with an egg wash, which will hold the meat and plantains together. To do this, beat 2 eggs vigorously until they form a homogeneous liquid. Then use a spoon to add a little bit of egg wash to each of the piononos. As you add it, try to distribute it evenly across the top of the piononos. Once your egg wash has been added, top your piononos with cheese. Here I'm using queso de bola, but cheddar is also a very common choice. Honestly, whatever cheese you like best is fine. Now that your piononos are all put together, let's bake them. In order to set the egg wash and melt the cheese, turn your oven on to 325 degrees Fahrenheit, and once it's hot, bake your piononos for 15 minutes. Now let's turn our oven up to broil for a couple of minutes in order to brown the cheese on top of the piononos. The broil setting gets real hot, so watch your piononos carefully to make sure they don't burn. Once the cheese is lightly browned, pull your piononos out of the oven and let them cool down. Once cool, move your piononos to a clean plate. Don't forget to remove the toothpicks before serving them to your hungry guests.
So there we go, guys. Piononos. They are fabulous. They look really cool. I think they're a great appetizer. I think they got a real wow factor to them, and you can see that there's kind of varying sizes depending on how big of the plantain was. On the big end, they might be a little hard to eat without a fork and knife, but on the small end, totally doable. And I'm gonna try right now. Right, a little bite size. Oh, yeah. Definitely one of the sweeter plantains, which makes it way yummier. There's that sweetness from the plantain combined with the saltiness from the meat and the cheese on top. It's delicious. Give me a second, let me finish this. Very delicious. But yeah, guys, so it's a real great recipe. Real easy to do. I think that making the picadillo in advance just makes it super easy to put together. You can also make them. So just put them together, put the egg on, put the cheese on, and then leave them in the fridge. You can leave them overnight if you want to make them the day before the party or anything. So really easy to do. And then you just bake them. You may need to bake them a little bit longer if they've been in the fridge because they're cold, but pretty straightforward, guys. So great recipe. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and come back again next week for another episode of Jeff and Joe's Puerto Rican Kitchen.